On behalf of the Congressional Hispanic Leadership Institute, thank you, Helion, for supporting the CHLI Purple Line Podcast. So, Patrick, thank you for joining us on the Purple Line Podcast. So happy to have you here on what I think is going to be kind of an interesting anniversary conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been such a phenomenal year so far. We started off the Staff Association.
Yeah.
Originally, my goal was for 50 members, and now I'm happy to say we're past 110 members.
This is the 1 year anniversary, right?
1 year.
January?
1 year.
I remember being at that anniversary kickoff. So very cool. Very cool.
And then, personally also, last year graduated with my master's in economics from Purdue.
Wow.
That was great. It was a lot while everything was going on. And then now I am an engaged man. So it's super exciting.
Dang, there's a lot of things to talk about.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Okay, so let's unpack a little bit of this. So first off, obviously with the Congressional Hispanic Leadership Institute, there's a lot of different things that kind of align here in terms of promoting young professionals, really looking at the pipeline of talent, obviously on the Hill. The only thing I think you and I have in common is that my mom is from Texas.
I think
that's that's the only thing we have so far, and maybe running a nonprofit-ish kind of thing.
Yeah.
But let's start with the anniversary of the GOP Latino Staff Association. How did that start? And tell us a little bit more about the organization.
Yeah, of course. So whenever I first came to D.C. about 3 years ago, these Republican Latinos would meet together and would get together once or twice a year. And every time we got together, we were like, we got to do something. We got to get more people in these roles. It's time we act. And then, a year or two goes by and nothing really ever happened.
Everybody still gets together and says the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, the past election, the trifecta happened. We got the White House, we got the Senate, we got the House of Representatives. And that's when we decided it was the perfect time to strike. So, me and a whole bunch of really good friends of mine got together, and then we went up to Monica De La Cruz, and we're like, hey, we want to put together the Staff Association. These are our goals. She completely signed off, has been a supporter since day one, and now we're an official staff organization on the Hill.
All right.
Yeah.
So now what do you have planned for this year for the association?
Oh, yeah. So year one, we hit the ground running.
Yeah.
It was amazing. We did a lot of events. Year two, we are raising the bar even higher. The bare minimum that we're offering to members is 3 events each month. A general body meeting. We're going to bring in guests from all over the country and the admin to come talk to our members. Professional development training that is going to be open up to all Republicans on the Hill to help advance their careers. And then, a happy hour to help.
A little happy hour always helps,
ease it there.
That's good.
We also redesigned the board where we can make some more decisions and expand it a little bit. We made it where we have program officers now that are dedicated to one purpose in the Staff Association.
Oh, that helps.
Yes.
Yeah, because you all have a lot of work to do on a regular basis.
Definitely.
So, we have an alumni association. A couple of your members, I know, are part of our alumni association. And the challenging time is always like, we want to do this and this and this, and then the regular job, right?
Takes
and
over.
And then you don't have enough time. And so that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. So how many board members do you have?
We have 12 right now, and I think we're going to bring on about 3 more.
Okay.
But we only have 6 core members, which really take a lot more of the legwork and make sure things happen.
Right, all the governance, heavy lifting part
but
of it.
As far as new programs, we added 3 major flag programs, and one is GOP Innovate. We're going to bring together Latino Republican staffers into a room, and we're going to talk about policy and how we could advance our initiatives and get stuff across the finish line, whether it's House or Senate. And then the other one is we are doing GOP service. So at least 4 times a year, we are going to get back together and give back to our communities.
Oh, nice.
Whether that's clothing drive, food drives, whatever, we're going to get back.
Let us know how our interns can be part of that too on the Alumni Association.
Of course.
I'm sure some of the members would love to help out.
Yeah, we are going to emphasize a lot more service this year. We do want to be, not only the leaders, but also the examples for our communities going forward.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So what has been surprising to you about running this organization this last year?
it's not easy.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's probably hint why things didn't get organized as quickly before.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's always that other, it always looks like it's easy, right? And then you get into it and you're like, oh, there's meetings, there's structure, so-and-so hasn't returned my emails.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And what really makes it a challenge is that it's a volunteer organization.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, I'm thanking you for your time, but I don't want to be your boss or micromanage you.
Right. Right.
But we all have the same goals. But it's been phenomenal. It's been a lot of growing room. But the biggest thing that I've learned personally is knowing when and where to ask for help.
Very good. Very important. Yeah, I think that from a cultural perspective, I know from me growing up, the way that I did, right, in a farm worker camp, the eldest of 5, you don't usually ask for help. Yeah. Right? Because
you just do it.
You're told. You just have to learn it. You've got to do it. There's a lot of people who don't want to help, so don't bother asking.
Exactly.
Right? So, and then we grow up and we're like, how did all those people get ahead? And you're like, oh, they raised their hand.
Exactly.
They asked for help. They said, I got an idea, but I can't do this by myself.
Yeah.
Right? So and it's not easy. It's a learned kind of skill.
And it's great being in DC because I think we kind of all learn that in a way. And then, Democrat or Republican, somebody's always there to help. Yeah. And I've loved that.
Yeah, that's important. And obviously with CHLI, we really focus on the diversity of thought and the bipartisanship. And, for people who aren't familiar with DC, there's a lot of people that get along across party lines, but it doesn't always make the breaking news, obviously, right?
Definitely.
So it's a little different. So talk to us a little bit about why did you decide to go back to school while you're working in Congress and starting this new nonprofit?
Yeah, so my parents have always emphasized education. Growing up, my parents gave us 2 choices. We were either going to go to college or go to the military.
Okay.
So, but besides that, they were just great examples of what continuing education can do.
Now, did they serve in the military?
No, but I have a whole bunch of uncles that did.
Okay.
My parents, they were high school sweethearts. They were also, teen parents. We lived in a very poor farming community. My backyard was a cotton field. I remember throwing dirt clogs growing up. My graduating class was 29 people. But, my parents are an amazing example of what this country has to offer. My dad was a farmer, decided he wanted more for us. So then he got his truck driving license, his CDL, decided he still wanted to provide more, so he got his hazmat license. And even to this day, he still wakes up at 4 a.m. to go drive a semi, and he's definitely the hardest worker I know.
Wow. How many siblings?
2. I have an older brother who is a high school baseball coach, and then I have a younger brother who's in the Air Force, who's currently in South Korea right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he's loving it. That's what's important. So far, so good. He's loving it. Yeah.
All right.
But I think also an amazing woman in my life is my mother. Her first job out of high school, she was one of those telecom operators where she would have to operate the switchboard. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then
I only see that on TV. I've never seen that.
Hated it. And she was like, I'm going back to school.
That's funny.
So I remember when we were from 2 to 6, my mom just went back to school, made sure got her education, and then she decided to become a teacher. She was phenomenal at it. But she fell so in love with the kids that she just wanted to give back more. Okay. So she decided to take it to the next step, and she got her master's to become a high school counselor.
Wow.
So now she's working with them, deciding their futures, which colleges to pick, which careers to pick.
So you had to go back to school just to keep up with your parents.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, exactly. But,
awesome.
They're amazing parents and definitely the best role models I have. Shout out to Virginia and Victor Herrera, my day one supporters. Love y'all. So
very good. How was that balancing the program with working? Was it partly online and partly in person? How do you do that? Because I know there's a lot of other Hill staffers that also do that, and I'm always amazed how you guys do that.
I was lucky. I've always had a deep interest in economics, and I was looking for various programs, and then Purdue ended up having the best online economics program in the country, and then also the best public economics program in the country.
Oh.
So, and the even better part is that it was affordable. So, without a thought, I signed up, a year before I started the staff association, and then when it came to time management, it was difficult, but I definitely had an end goal in mind, and I made it happen.
Okay, so something to follow up on that. So we do talk to interns and alumni, and especially young professionals in terms of the time management. So what was your secret sauce to kind of get that organized, or like your mindset to get things organized?
Yeah, I think it was just being on a strict set schedule. I would go to work from 8 to 6, and I knew if I were to get home, I would just fall asleep. So right after, I would go to the local Starbucks, opened up my laptop, and just completed all the schoolwork I had to do. Okay. And then I would go home and fall asleep.
And then fall asleep. Yeah. I guess when you start to get home, your mind is already.
Oh yeah, you get comfortable.
Yeah, you get comfy.
You know. But I was even crazier, and then I flipped that all upside down. I ended up getting a Saint Bernard puppy. So
because
I had to go home now. I didn't have enough to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He is the light of my life. He's 130 pounds. Eats a hole in my pocket.
Like, did they stay small for a long time?
No. Yeah.
Okay.
He's almost as tall as me, believe it or not. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's back up a little bit to why you even came to Washington, D.C. What was, the public service side of it, obviously your parents and the opportunity to serve, obviously, armed forces, that's an important part in the family. But what was the public service side of it that made you feel like I need to be in Washington?
Yeah, so originally I was not really interested in coming to Washington. My sophomore year in college, I applied for the Texas Tech Public Policy Program.
Okay.
It's a phenomenal program. They'll give you a place to stay, food to eat, and a scholarship on top of it to come to DC.
Yeah.
I got denied, and I was like, oh, that's a sign for me not to come. So the next couple years, I focused on consulting on behalf of the university, and I was able to work with PBS and Dell, and then I thought I was going to do consulting. And then I remembered about the public policy partnership, and I just thought, what the heck, I'll apply in. I applied, got accepted, came to DC, and then the first 2 weeks, I just fell in love with it. And I knew I had to stay. I knew I had to stay.
Very cool. So moving forward in terms of the job, so now you've been with us in the same office now the whole time. Yep. So if you can share with us what is, somebody who's thinking about moving and doing the same thing, what is it like? What is it like working in the office? Anything that you can share with us about that experience?
It's fast-paced. There's always something going on in DC. It's exciting, but I will say it's also hard. But,
like, what does hard mean?
Like, if someone's just watching, like, what is,
okay, so
like,
challenge,
like
decision making, like, what makes it hard?
Well, the first step is that you are going to have to leave everything behind and be 100% in.
Okay.
There's no way you could really make a impact or have a successful career, in my opinion, if you're not fully committed to it.
That's important.
And it's one of those that you really also have to enjoy what you're doing. Even if you don't enjoy it now, you got to have that vision in the future that you will be enjoying it.
That's important. Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah. My first job working for Keith was staff assistant.
Okay.
So I was answering phones, managing interns, making sure the office was in order. That nobody grows up saying that I want to be a staff assistant. So
I guess not.
Yeah. So, but you
can't get. Most people don't jump ahead to the other roles.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You got to do it. It's a literal ladder.
So just so people have that context. Yeah.
It's a literal ladder that you have to climb. But I was able to just keep working hard every single day. And there was one point in my career where I was doing three separate jobs for the office. I was staff assistant, legislative correspondent, and press secretary.
How did you end up with 3 jobs?
I just said yes.
Okay.
They're like, do you want to do this? Yeah. Do you want to do this? Yeah. Okay. And I just learned and went along the way. And then, literally one day happened where I just got promoted overnight. And then throughout the years, I was able to build such a diverse legislative portfolio that I fell in love with. Just to give you an idea, I handle defense, appropriations, financial services, agriculture, transportation and infrastructure, AI, semiconductors, critical minerals. Yes, the list goes on.
How do you not manage it overall, but like what are the resources Like if there's a bill that's coming up that's related to AI, as an example.
Yeah.
I know from on the Hill, you have a lot of different resources that the average person doesn't have, right?
Yeah.
So walk us through a little bit on one of those, like, where do you go? How quickly do you have to pull the information together for the member?
It's a case-by-case scenario. Most of the time we have whatever's coming to the fore, we have a weekend to prepare. And if we have some inside ballpark knowledge, we can have a week or two. So you also have
to be aware that you may have to give up some weekends.
Oh, yeah. Late nights, midnight oil, that's all part of the sacrifice.
Okay.
But, my thought process that changed everything was realizing I don't need to be the expert. I just need to know the experts. So I focus a lot on building my network and building my community around me where, hey, if I need an answer on this tax credit, I know where to go.
Perfect.
Hey, if I need an answer, on this engine for this helicopter,
oh my gosh.
I know where to go.
That's some fine-tuning networking skills there, Patrick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's having all those resources and all those people, not really at your disposal, but that you can work with, that's been able to help me succeed in my career.
Okay. So if I were to ask you, now that you've been here for a while, what would you tell the Patrick who's a junior in college about life ahead?
Go with your gut. Go with your gut. A lot of the decisions that I made in my life and with the staff association, I've had, so much input from, family, mentors, friends, associates. But, the best decisions are the ones that I made for myself, just listening to what I'm thinking. Sometimes your mind says one thing and you're feeling something different. It's just the best decision is just to go with your gut.
Yeah. And so what happens if your gut's wrong later on? Then what do you do?
We have a serious conversation. No, I'm just kidding.
I love it.
Yeah.
I know. That's always like, we I think some of it is interesting because I was talking to a couple of family members over the holiday season as well. And something came up in regards to the decision making. Like sometimes we overdo it on gathering information, and on the personal side I guess we can kind of do that on a regular basis, but at some point in your job, right, with the member, you just have to say, I have as much information, I've talked to enough experts, here's the recommendation, boss, and why, right? So it's kind of different than the personal side. So that's kind of was wondering, but if you have the personal gut, you got the work gut.
The work gut is different. The work gut is
very different.
We just have to present all our facts to the member and let them decide. That's the work gut. It's like, is this correct? Is this resource reliable? How should I recommend a vote on this tough vote? That's where the work gut comes in.
It's very different. Taking you back home, so tell us a little bit about growing up and maybe some of the lessons learned along the way that helped you decide your major and gave you that little extra push to move out of Texas.
Yeah. One of the best lessons I learned when it comes to, managing people and giving, large groups of people things they want was my junior year in student council. I had this idea to...
In high school?
In high school. In high school. I had this idea to throw this green initiative, recycling, kind of end of the year games for everybody. It was going to be all about recycling and all about green. It was so boring. Everybody hated it.
Goodness.
And then the next year, I took it in a completely different direction. I was like, we're going to do big. We're going to go all out. We're going to have music. We're going to have tug of war. Yeah, I was the class president.
All right.
We're going to have tug of war. It's just going to be fun. And, just the dynamic of doing what everybody wants versus doing what I think everybody wants is big. And, I've kind of also taken that same mindset into the staff association.
Okay.
That, people really want to advance in their careers.
Yeah.
They really care about what they're doing, and they love the movement. And we just got to get them there,
Yeah.
But as far as a major, originally I was in chemical engineering. I was at Texas Tech. I did that for a year. I hated the studying.
Oh.
Yeah, it was horrible. I mean, late nights, long weekends of just math equations. And then I decided I want to switch, so I did what every engineering student does and switches to business. So I went to business and marketing, and then I fell in love with consulting. Texas Tech just started their consulting competition.
Oh, interesting.
So they would bring in a whole bunch of international, national, local companies together, and they would have college students solve their problems. And
are the problems like engineering related problems?
No, this is business. This is business.
Topics.
So my first one, PBS comes to us, and it's a local PBS, and they're saying we're not getting enough donations. So then we came up with a plan for them to get donations.
Oh, okay, I like that.
And then the next year, it was Dell. They came, and then they were like, we're having trouble getting these products to entrepreneurs. How can we market it to them? And it's just like, it's basically what I'm doing now. I have a problem, and I'm just trying to find a solution.
Trying to solve it.
Yes.
Yeah, so it did give you a lot of problem-solving skills and tips and tricks and different ways to talk to people and how to pitch information. So definitely.
Yeah.
Those are all things that you don't think about at the time.
But it's all connected.
Right? Yeah, it is.
It's all connected.
It's like I never thought, for example, being in college, I worked on campus and then I worked off campus in the mall. But I was able to save money by buying the clothes that was on sale, right? And then being able to tell people and explain what is the benefit versus the feature versus an added value. Yeah. Things that you don't think mean anything at the time.
But
right?
they do.
And then, and then later you're like, oh my God, I picked this up when I was doing this job that I didn't think was that big of a deal.
Exactly.
At the time,
yeah.
Right?
It's all connected.
And it really is. It really is. Talking again a little bit about the GOP Latino Staff Association. So, looking at that and looking at Chile, for example, we really focus a lot on the diversity of thought. We have members of Congress on both sides of the aisle. We have interns who also intern on different offices. They intern in the public sector, and then they intern in the corporate sector to get those different perspectives, right? So talk to us a little bit about, the diversity of thought and how you incorporate that into your association.
Yeah, of course. Our staff association is bringing together, a lot of people who never had any political experience, But our long-term goal is to build the next generation of leaders. How can we build up and change our communities if we're not the decision makers in the room? Right. So, we want to train the next generation of chief of staffs, the next PSMs, the next people on the WIP team, the next people on the leadership team. So that's how we're really moving forward.
Okay, yeah, that's good because along the way to become the decision maker, you also learn the process as well. And so, look, we have a lot of alumni too who maybe don't want to be that member of Congress, but they want to be a chief of staff.
Exactly.
Or they want to take that experience and do something else. So I think it is an opportunity to learn in a different kind of way.
And, as you may know, there's just a lot of institutional knowledge and know-how that goes into having a successful career in D.C.
Yeah. Well, good. So again, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
On the 1-year anniversary of the formation of the organization, and we look forward to see what else you guys are up to for this year.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to The Purple Line. Follow us on social media at The Chili, at THECHLI. Thank you for joining us on The Purple Line.